Welcome to Yoga for Massage Therapy Students. I'm Kathleen Lisson. For today's practice, I'll invite you to sit in the cross-legged pose, and we're going to start with some 4-7-8 breathing. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. So let's begin. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Final one, inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Great, so return to breathing normally, and we're going to invite you to hold your hands close to your heart, and let's set an intention for today's practice. What do we want to get out of this time on the mat? We can seal that intention by chanting Om. I'll invite you to inhale. Om. Wonderful. And then on your next inhale, hands lift overhead, and we'll do a side bend. Go ahead and place the left hand down next to you, the right hand up and over the head. We're bending in the left side of the body. We'll stay here for a few breaths. And then as you inhale, hands overhead again, and we'll go to the other side. Side bend on the right. Right hand is on the ground. Left hand is up and over the head. Breathing here. And that next inhale, we can go ahead and inhale the arms overhead. We'll go into a twist. Hand on the opposite knee. That left hand goes behind. And take a few breaths, feeling how the breath is moving the spine in this twist. On the next inhale, the hands go over the head, twisting to the opposite side. Left hand on right knee, right hand behind you. Taking a few breaths in this twist. On the next inhale, the hands go overhead and then out in front of you. Let's do our wrist warm up. So we'll go ahead and rotate the wrists, first away from each other, then back towards each other. Then we'll repeat that twisting, that rotational movement in the shoulders, up and back. And then switching to the opposite direction. And then we'll start warming up the neck, rotating the neck in one direction, switching to the other direction. Such a delicious movement any time of day. And when you feel like you've warmed up the neck, I invite you to join me in the tabletop pose. So shoulders are underneath the wrists, knees are underneath the hips, and we're moving into cat-cow. So this is a lengthening, an extension, and a flexion of the spine. So as we flex the spine, we exhale, extend, and inhale, curling up into cat, curving down into cow. Notice how the spine is moving with the breath in this position. And then soon we'll move into hip rotation. So we're going to lift the right hip up and rotate it one direction and switch into the opposite direction. Warming up our hips, placing it on the ground, doing hip rotation with the left hip, first in one direction, then in the opposite direction. And once that's finished, we're going to go into a stretch of the hand and the foot. So we're going to stretch out that left hand in front of us and stretch out that right foot behind us. And as we flex them in, the elbow and the knee are going to touch, and we're going to exhale into that flexion movement. Inhale back into the extension. We'll do this for 10 times. Flexing and extending, inhaling and exhaling from either side towards the midline. And then when we're done with this side, we can place the hands and feet back, and then we'll do it on the opposite side. Right hand out in front of us, left foot out behind us. First this balance move, and then we'll move into flexion and extension on this side. Inhaling during the extension and exhaling during the flexion. Moving from opposite sides in and towards the midline, using the breath and the movement together in this wonderful position. And as we're done, we'll place all hands and knees back down and then move back into cat-cow. Do that spinal flexion and extension and feel it with, this time with a beginner's mind. Is it different? Is our body different in this moment? Just with these few minutes of movement that we've had on the mat this morning. Flexing and extending into cat-cow. And now moving into exploration of a weight shift. This is so important to massage therapists. So focus on shifting all the weight into the right side of the body, that knee and hand, and then up and over the center of our body, and then shifting it into the left side of the body. It's not a big movement, but this is something that's so valuable for massage therapists to know how to shift their weight in their body in our treatment room. And now we can begin to explore a weight shift in the hands. So you can lift up and place the fingertips and the knuckles on the ground and pour weight just into that area of the hand, and then gently place the palm on the ground to kind of focus on distributing the weight more evenly throughout our whole hand instead of just dumping it into the wrist. This is really going to save our wrists throughout our massage therapy career. And when you're done playing with that, I'll invite you to straighten out the knees and meet me in the plank position. And then walk up to our first forward fold. So let's go ahead and play in this forward fold. A little bit of pedaling to the left and the right. thinking about weight shifting on the left foot and then over onto the right foot. And then find a little stillness at the end of this. And then rise up into mountain pose. You can stay where you are at the mat. I'm going to move in just a moment to more clearly show you the knee rotation. Go ahead and bend forward, put the hands on the knees, and rotate the knees first in one direction and then in the other, warming up the knees. And we'll mimic this in the hips, rotating the hips first one direction and then in another direction, getting the body nice and warm to prepare for 3 rounds of Surya Namaskar. This will really bring the warmth into our body and prepare us for a little bit of fun balancing afterwards. So let's start in mountain pose and exhale the hands to the chest. Inhale the hands overhead, a little back bend. Exhale into a forward fold. Inhale, right foot back. Exhale, the left foot back. Inhale into this plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into a cobra pose. Exhale into a downward dog. Inhale the right leg up. This is a way you can do it. If it's hard to get the right leg all the way up, we can bend that knee, move the leg up, and then straighten that knee out. And then exhale, move the leg left up, forward fold. Inhale, up into a back bend. Exhale into mountain pose. Inhale, exhale, hands to the chest. Inhale, hands overhead, a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, right foot back. Inhale into this plank position. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale to a cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhaling that left leg up. Exhaling that right leg up, forward fold. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's move into the second. Exhale, inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, left leg back. Inhale into this plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose. Exhale into downward dog. Inhale, right leg goes forward into a lunge. Exhale, left leg brings us into downward fold. Inhale, hands to the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale and exhale, prayer pose. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot comes back. Exhale, right foot. Inhale into the plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra pose. Exhale into downward dog. Inhale that left leg forward. Exhale the right leg forward. From forward bend, inhale, hands overhead, tiny back bend. Exhale into mountain pose. Okay, our third and final one, starting in prayer pose, up, down into that forward fold, right leg goes back, exhale, left leg goes back, inhale in the plank, exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground, inhale into cobra, exhale into downward facing dog, inhale, right leg goes forward, exhale, left leg comes forward, inhale, little back bend, exhale, mountain pose. Okay, let's begin hands at the chest with an exhale. Inhale, a little back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, right leg back. Inhale into this plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale into cobra. Exhale into down dog. Inhale that left leg forward. Exhale the right leg forward into your forward bend. Inhale, hands up into the sky. And exhale, hands to the side, mountain pose. For this next part of the practice, we're going to explore the midline. So meet me in another forward fold. And then we're going to inhale and take that right leg back into a lunge. And then matching the left and the right thigh at the midline, use that strength to lift us up into crescent pose. So we're pressing the left thigh and the right thigh together at the midline. That and the core is what is keeping us steady in this crescent pose. We'll be here for a few more breaths. And then hands go back down. Left leg goes back into a plank. Knees, chest, and chin down to the ground. Lift up into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg up and then up towards between the hands, left lunge, and then from the strength of the midline, rise up into crescent pose on the left. We'll stay here for a few breaths. We're building strength in this pose from our core and then the hugging in of the left and the right thigh into the midline. As you exhale, the hands go down to the ground. The left leg goes back into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the ground. Inhale to cobra. Exhale to down dog. Lift that right leg up into three-legged dog, forward into a lunge. And then the left leg comes and joins it in a forward fold. Lift up to a half fold. Lengthening the spine, lengthening the tailbone and the top of the head, and come back into a back bend, into a forward fold. Lift up, hands to the sky, into a back bend, and back down into mountain pose. Now we're going to play a little bit with weight shifting again. Put all our weight into our left foot so that we can lift effortlessly that right knee up into the waist. And then hands go into prayer pose. We're moving the top of the body forward and that right heel back into warrior 3. In this balance pose, also think about the thighs again, finding strength from moving in towards the midline. A few more breaths here. And then on your exhale, you'll bend that right knee again. We'll lift the head up. Lift the torso, lift that knee back up, and then set it down. Resting for a moment in mountain pose. And then lifting the left knee up effortlessly as the weight is on the right. moving the torso forward and that left foot back. Warrior 3. Holding this pose for a few more breaths, feeling the strength of this balance. As you exhale, bending the knee again, bringing it back up towards the torso, placing it down onto the ground, and meeting me again in mountain pose. Take a minute here to remember the intention you set at the beginning of the practice. And then hands go to the ground in a forward bend. Right and left feet can go back. So we're in the plank position. And then switch down to your elbows to save those wrists. We're going to do toe rainbows. So the right foot is going to go up and over the left foot and then back. Up and over the left foot and then back. Crossing the midline in this position. One more time. And then the left foot over the right. Crossing the midline onto the right. One more time. And then the knees can come down. Meet me in tabletop pose. The hands and the knees balancing. And then the knees are spread wide. The hands are spread wide, and we push back into extended child's pose. Relax. And then at the end of the next breath, I'll invite you to sit up, swing the legs to the side, bring yourself into a seated position. Then we're going to do another type of breath work. We'll take a deep breath and then a second breath on top of it to completely fill the lungs, and then exhale the entire thing out, breathing 1 and 2 on the inhale, and then exhaling the complete way out. 1, 2, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. And do this at your own pace. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, inhale, and exhale. And then when you let that go, let's take a moment to lie back. Press our knees into our chest. And then stretch out into stretching, and then meet me in Shavasana. I'll invite you to relax your feet, your ankles, your shins, your knees, your thighs. Relax your hips, your pelvis, your low back, your mid back, your upper back. Relax your abdomen, your chest, your fingers, your hands, your wrists, your forearms. Relax your elbows, your upper arms, your shoulders, your neck, your scalp, your face. Relax your whole head. Relax the left side of your body. Relax the right side of your body. Relax your whole body. Relax your whole body. I'll invite you to bring to awareness sounds in your environment. Sounds that are inside of the room. Any sounds that you can feel outside of the room. I'll invite you to feel your body breathing itself. Taking deep and relaxed breaths in Shavasana. I'll invite you to take a few deeper breaths, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes as we come out of this period of mindfulness. And then slowly roll to one side. Meet me in a seated position. And take a moment now at the end of your practice to remember again the intention you set at the beginning of this time on the mat. Place your hands in your heart. And so it is. Thank you so much for spending this time on the mat. If you'd like information about more yoga practices, you can find me on my website, KathleenHelenLisson.com. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.